Hey everybody, it's Amir Zahir, and I just want to make a short video to explain to everyone what's going on this week at the International Court of Justice in the Netherlands in this case between South Africa and Israel. Now, I am a lawyer and a part-time law professor, so I'm going to wear that hat in this video and take off my comedy hat for a few minutes. And let me say, I'm not a seasoned expert in international law or litigation, and one such expert, Professor Francis Boyle, who has litigated genocide crimes at the ICJ, has recently expressed his opinion that the South African charge of genocide against Israel will prevail. What I want to discuss is the working of the court, its origin, its structure, so you understand what's going on. When the United Nations was created in the 1940s, it was formed under a charter, which is another name for like a constitution. And just like the American Constitution, the UN Charter created a number of organs, or what we Americans might call like branches of the government. And the American Constitution created the executive, legislative, and judicial branches. The UN Charter did something similar. Its executive branch is called the Secretariat. The leader is the Secretary General. Its legislative branch is broken up into two components, the General Assembly and the Security Council, and its judicial branch is the International Court of Justice, or the ICJ. Now, the ICJ operates under its own kind of charter as well, known as the Statute of the International Court of Justice. The court has 15 judges who are elected by the General Assembly and the Security Council, and they serve 9-year terms. They can be re-elected, and no two judges serving at the same time are allowed to be of the same nationality. And informally, the judges represent different parts of the world, though that's not specifically provided for under the rules. And decisions are made and issued similarly to the Supreme Court of the United States. Now, there is a president and vice president of the court, but they don't have any special powers other than simple administration of the court. And this president and vice president, they rotate every 3 years. Now, currently, the 15 judges hail from Somalia, China, Slovakia, France, Morocco, Brazil, the US, Uganda, India, Jamaica, Australia, Russia, Lebanon, Japan, and Germany. And in this upcoming case, South Africa has made an application in the court against Israel, alleging that Israel is violating the Genocide Convention of the United Nations, to which South Africa and Israel are both signatories. And South Africa's 84-page application is thorough, and it details Israel's actions. More importantly, it seeks to establish Israel's intent to commit genocide by quoting a number of Israeli government officials, including the Prime Minister, the President, the Defense Minister, the Minister of National Security, and so on. I won't get into the merits of the application. Obviously, I support their contentions, and like I said before, perhaps the foremost global authority on this has already said he believes Israel has violated the Genocide Convention. Now, what exactly is South Africa asking the court to do? It's seeking two things. First, it's seeking an advisory opinion from the court under international law and the Genocide Convention that Israel is engaging in genocide. In other words, that Israel is violating its obligation to prevent genocide under the convention. Also, South Africa is asking the court for provisional measures calling on Israel to halt the hostilities, ceasefire. This is what we lawyers would call like an injunction, where a court calls for a specific action from a party pursuant to a lawsuit or a complaint. Now, the court's decision will come by a majority decision. In other words, if 8 judges come down on one side of the issue, that will be the holding of the court. There can be joint opinions, individual opinions, dissenting opinions, like we'd see in any court made up of multiple judges like the U.S. Supreme Court. Unlike the Security Council, no single judge has veto power or anything like that. All member nation states of the UN are subject to the court's jurisdiction, just like all citizens and states of the US are subject to the jurisdiction of the Supreme Court. So the oral arguments will happen on January 11th and 12th, and experts say the decision could be issued within 7 days after that. Now, and this is important, like most judicial entities, the court itself doesn't have its own enforcement mechanism. It depends on the executive and legal branches of the UN to enforce its opinions. That's where the politics will come into play. So, for instance, is it possible that the ICJ declare that Israel's actions constitute genocide, and then the US still vetoes any measures attempted in the Security Council to enforce the court's opinion? Of course. In fact, that's probably what would happen. At the same time, an opinion from the ICJ that Israel is in fact committing genocide would create an international legal holding from the highest court in the world. That would, of course, be an important diplomatic and political tool to further pressure Israel and the United States to put an end to all of this, to the genocide. So anyway, I hope that helps further some understanding on this whole issue. I'll try to answer any follow-up questions in the comments. And as always, keep talking about Palestine and free Palestine.